Due to that large budget surplus, there is a renewed effort at the Capitol to end the Texas tampon tax. Legislation filed this month aims to create a sales tax exemption for menstrual products. If it passes, Texas would join more than 20 other states that do not charge sales tax for tampons and other related period products. It's not a new idea. Efforts to end the tax in Texas have failed several times in previous sessions, but this time Governor Greg Abbott said he would support the legislation if it gets to his desk. Representative Donna Howard again authored the bill. She spoke with our Kelsey Thompson about the outlook this time around.
Talk to me a little bit about why this issue has been so important to you from a legislative policy standpoint and how you're feeling heading into this next legislative session.
Well, I have filed it several times, and each time have gotten more momentum in terms of the support in the larger community from my own constituents as well as people from throughout the state of Texas, especially young women. It's been extremely encouraging to see the young women who are even in high school as well as in college who actually came to Austin to testify in support of this legislation. That's how strongly they feel about this. This is a discriminatory tax. It impacts half of our population at some point in time in their lives. And because it is a medical necessity, because it is required to be used in order to be comfortably attending school and work, if you do not have access to these products, it can actually impact your educational and employment opportunities and how you pursue those. So it's really a very important statement, if you will, in terms of recognizing the discriminatory nature of this tax. Now, recognizing again that this is the tax portion, you still have to buy the product. And we know that there are many who are in need of these products who do not have them. In fact, we've been told by the school districts that several young women do not attend school for a couple of days each month because they do not have access to these products.
And when it comes to sales tax exemptions, we know that there are several other medicinal medical products that already have that protection and don't receive those sales tax fees. Why do you think it's taken to this point and we're still having this conversation on whether or not menstrual products should be included in that list?
My understanding is that it really has to just do with the interpretation of what is categorized as a medical product through either IRS, FDA, but whatever the listings that exist. There apparently is some discretion, but up until recently anyway, the Comptroller's office has felt that this was something that required some kind of statutory action, legislation on the part of the legislature, rather than just instituting the change themselves. So indeed, now the Comptroller has come out publicly saying that this is something that he thinks we do need to do this session. So glad to have his support and backing on this. I think that's going to go a long way toward helping us finally get this across the finish line. Last session, for the first time, we did get the bill through the committee hearing and had unanimous bipartisan support for the legislation. It just never got a chance to be voted on the House floor. So we just ran out of time. This time, hopefully, it'll be a priority and we can get it done earlier in session. Senator Joan Huffman, who is the chair of the Senate Finance Committee, has also indicated publicly her support. So I'm very hopeful that we can pass it this time.
You talked about the momentum you've seen each time that you brought this bill before the legislative session and how there have been so many young girls across the state who have really championed this issue. What's that been like to see that sort of evolution over recent years and to also see that this hasn't been a partisan issue? It's something that a lot of people across the aisle have agreed upon. What's it been like to see that momentum really rise in the last several years?
You know, I think it's so encouraging to see young people recognizing the power of their civic engagement and taking it seriously and coming in and talking about an issue that sometimes is stigmatized, but they've been very brave about it. They've been actually very grounded and informed and have stood up for themselves in front of what oftentimes is an older group, many men who are a part of the legislative body. I've been extremely proud of these young women and what they've done, and I think it's going to bode well for the future of their civic engagement. They're going to see that what they've done has made a difference, and it's been incredible to watch.
We wanted to find out how removing the tax on menstrual products would affect the state budget. The Comptroller's office estimates the sales tax would bring in $28.6 million during the next 2-year budget. For comparison, the last state budget was more than $251 billion. So proponents say it's a drop in the bucket. Comptroller Hagar made that point when he supported ending that tax. In a statement, he called the tax archaic and said the state can absorb the lost revenue. Hagar added, quote, "For countless Texas women, this will mean significant savings in their personal budgets over time."
You can't do the work if you're not there.
She spent nearly half her life serving in the Texas Senate, and she's leading the way as lawmakers begin to shape the next session. We'll introduce you to a longtime lawmaker who says she has no plans to slow down.